If your license is suspended in Georgia and the state says you need an SR-22, SR-22 Direct can help you get the right policy started today. Here's what you need to know before you get back on the road. An SR-22 is a certificate, not a separate insurance policy. It is proof filed with the Georgia Department of Driver Services, showing proof that your coverage meets the state's required liability limits. If your policy cancels or the coverage lapses while the SR-22 is still required, the state can be notified, which may lead to another suspension. Several violations can lead to an SR-22 requirement in Georgia. DUI-related violations are a common reason, but the requirement may also apply after driving without insurance, being involved in an accident without proper coverage, accumulating too many violations, or reckless driving. In certain repeat no insurance cases, Georgia may require an SR-22A or a paid-in-full SR-22, so it is important to match the policy with the state's requirement. Georgia requires minimum liability coverage of $25, $50, $25. That means $25,000 per person for bodily injury, $50,000 per accident for bodily injury, and $25,000 for property damage. Your SR-22 filing must confirm that your policy either meets or exceeds those minimum limits. In many Georgia cases, drivers are required to maintain SR-22 proof for a set period, but the exact length can depend on the reason for your suspension or what the Georgia DDS requires in your case. The safest move is to treat it as a continuous filing requirement and to avoid any gaps in coverage. Consecutive coverage matters. If you switch insurance carriers, make sure the new SR-22 is filed before your old policy ends. A gap in coverage can trigger a notice to the state, lead to another suspension, and create problems with completing your required SR-22 period. Insurance premiums often increase after an SR-22 requirement, especially if the violation involved DUI, reckless driving, driving without insurance, or an accident. The exact increase can depend on your driving history, age, location, vehicle, coverage limits, and the company you choose. Georgia rates can vary from one carrier to another, so comparing multiple options can make a real difference. The filing fee itself is usually manageable, often $15 to $50 as a one-time cost. The bigger financial impact usually comes from the insurance premium. If you do not own a vehicle, a non-owner SR-22 policy may be an option. This can provide liability coverage when you drive a vehicle you don't own, and is often less expensive than a policy that covers a vehicle you do own. If Georgia requires an SR-22A or paid-in-full filing in your situation, make sure your policy is set up correctly from the start. Set up autopay, keep your policy active, and make sure any new SR-22 is filed before canceling your old coverage. Visit SR22direct.com to get your Georgia SR-22 policy started today and compare rates, or call or text 888-620-SR-22. That's 888-620-7722. Agents are standing by to help you get legal and back on the road today.